And also, when will cool down again? You're watching KX News at noon, and it starts right now.
Coming up at noon, a major milestone for long-term care residents and their families. We'll fill you in. Plus, what comes next for the now vacant seat in the State House of Representatives? And where can you dig into North Dakota fashion through the decades? We'll tell you.
Putting North Dakota first. KX News at noon starts now.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maddie Gear Temple. In our top story today, the vaccination effort picks up speed. President Biden announced last night that U.S. coronavirus vaccine production is ahead of schedule. He says all adult Americans will be eligible to get a vaccine by May 1st. That, he says, should enable Americans to return to a more normal lifestyle by the 4th of July. The president will host a ceremony today to celebrate the passage of the American Rescue Plan. Americans could see relief money hit their bank accounts as soon as this weekend. And nursing homes received long-awaited news from the CDC this week that allows families to finally reunite with loved ones. The guidance allows for indoor visitation at any time, even if the resident or visitor isn't vaccinated. For the 218 facilities in North Dakota impacted by these guidelines, it's a reason for celebration. North Dakota Long-Term Care Association President Shelley Peterson sees a light at the end of the tunnel for the pandemic.
I think we should just have balloons in every facility, opening the doors and welcoming everybody, because it's a day that we've been waiting for.
With COVID-19 vaccinations ramping up and outbreaks slowing down, the new guidance is a godsend for nursing homes in North Dakota.
We're filled with hope, excitement, and a new beginning to the end of kind of a dark time.
The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services and the CDC issued a report Wednesday expanding indoor nursing home visitation regardless of vaccination status.
Some have had grandchildren and great-grandchildren, more great-grandchildren this last year, and they've never seen them. So we're really excited at the news.
The updates mark a stark change from last November when thousands of new cases were reported daily, and now 90% of residents have been vaccinated. Missouri Slope President Ryer Thompson says the guidelines cut the time to reopen for indoor visitation in half for areas unaffected by a positive case.
Finally, something's changing. Something's getting updated to reflect all of the hard work that we're doing.
He says that under previous guidance, which was more restrictive than the new rules to achieve indoor visitation, Missouri Slope could open its doors 2 weeks ago.
The feeling was overwhelming. It was palpable, the joy and the happiness that residents and families would share with me. Being able to visit with their loved ones inside their rooms, it was amazing.
There are some exceptions to the opening of visitation, though. If the resident's vaccination rate is under 70% and the county has a positivity rate above 10%, or if the resident is in quarantine or positive for the virus, there could still be limitations. While the new rules help, Thompson did say widespread vaccination is another key step.
You never know how much that can affect those that live and work in places like long-term care facilities.
Both Peterson and Thompson wanted to emphasize that there are still a lot of unknowns with the guidance, especially when it comes to quarantine and some of the other exceptions. So even though the news is a positive first step, many are waiting for further guidance from the state's Human Services Department, which is expected next week. Now to our COVID-19 North Dakota Watch. The health department reports 125 new cases of the coronavirus, bringing the number of active cases here in the state to 671. One more North Dakotan has died with the virus, a man in his 90s from Morton County. 1,455 people have died with coronavirus in our state since the pandemic began. 92 additional people have recovered. 17 are currently in the hospital with the virus, and nearly 290,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine have been administered here in North Dakota. Here's a look at the new cases by county. Cass had the highest with 38. Burley and Morton both reported 10. Stark County added 9. Williams and Morton counties reported 10. For the latest information on the coronavirus in our state, head to kxnet.com. Morton County commissioners declared a total burn ban effective immediately at the request of the Mandan Rural Fire Chief, meaning regardless of the state's fire danger index, the ban will remain in effect until further notice. The only exceptions are the use of gas grills and stoves used at a safe distance from combustible materials. If you are found violating the burn ban, you could face up to 30 days in jail and be fined $1,500. To take a look at a list of what you cannot burn, head to kxnet.com. And 1 week ago, North Dakota's House voted to expel Representative Luke Simons over allegations of inappropriate behavior. The now former Dickinson lawmaker says he will not pursue legal action against the legislature, despite previously saying a court case was on the table. In a statement, Simons said litigation would take too long as the clock ticks on the second half of the session, with his district left underrepresented. He said, quote, "Unfortunately, the only way I can immediately correct this injustice is to allow someone else to serve." District 36 Republican Chairman John Enderle says his committee will select his replacement over the coming days.
The market doesn't think that these are the long-term oil prices. So if you look at EIA, or even if you look at NYMEX.
And Enderle did not provide any names for who is being considered for that seat. Now, the Oil and Gas Director's monthly report, we look back at oil production in January, which saw a larger than anticipated decline, 4% to be exact. Director Lynn Helms attributes the decrease to 1 day of heavy winds in the oil patch at about 90 miles per hour. Power was lost and took about 10 days to restore. In the meantime, 50,000 barrels worth of oil production were lost per day. The price of oil today tells a totally different story. The about $56 a barrel price is 50% above what was forecasted, but that is not expected to last.
I think that these are the long-term oil prices. So if you look at EIA, or even if you look at NYMEX, they all see this as a short-term peak.
Most major price forecasters that I've seen, are in that same camp of we're in a bit of a, I don't want to call it a bubble, but a bit of a high point right now.
Kringstad says the price is very much contingent on what happens at the next OPEC meeting in April. Bismarck commissioners are in talks of possibly raising the sales tax, and it's all because of one reason: growth. Through a space needs study, city leaders noticed a need for expansion to keep up with the growth of the capital city. The police department is one department in particular that continues to grow and is in need of a bigger building. Public health is another department that would need to be relocated, as the building it currently occupies was sold in 2019. To fund both moves, there are talks to create a 1/4 cent sales tax increase.
With the sales tax, it's the surrounding communities that come in, other people that come in that are also going to be using, basically our police department, fire, some of our safety issues that we have, and then also Burley Public Health as far as the surrounding communities coming in and utilizing those services.
The sales tax measure would be placed on the ballot in June of 2020. And if you're looking to something to do this weekend, along with the sports show happening, we might have just the thing for you. The North Dakota Heritage Center just opened a new exhibit, Fashion and Function North Dakota Style. You will see clothing worn by North Dakotans throughout the decades and explore the role clothing has played in our state's history. There are more than 400 garments in the collection, some dating all the way back to 1861. Kim Jondal, who works at the museum, tells us this is the first time many of the garments have ever been displayed.
It's really a rare opportunity for people to see what's in our collections and to see what people have donated. We're hoping that people can find themselves something about their history in this exhibit.
Jondal tells us the State Historical Society is always accepting donations, and the Fashion and Function exhibit will be open until November of 2022. Still to come on KX News, a year of unprecedented stress from the pandemic. We'll look at the potential long-term effects on our mental health. And Amber has your weekend forecast live from the KX Sports Show next.
This weather segment is sponsored by CHI St. Alexius Health, Great Plains Rehabilitation Services.
At Trinity Health, our heart specialists are dedicated to providing heart-saving care focused on getting you back into the rhythm of life, making more moves possible. At Trinity Health, we're dedicated to saving more hearts with convenient screenings, advanced emergency care, and leading-edge treatment options, making more ice time possible.
Stop by Capital RV of Minot for our open house super sale from March 8th to the 14th and get incredible deals on top brands of RVs. Find a 2021 Hideout 176BH for only $147 a month, only at Capital RV.
Howdy, I'm Brandon Langang, owner of Heritage Exteriors. Some of you may already recognize me and others maybe not so much. I grew up in this industry, and to this day, it's still my passion. I love working with homeowners and seeing the excitement they get when we finish their home remodel project. At Heritage Exteriors, I'm continuing my father's legacy with the same values and appreciation for a job well done.
Heritage Exteriors by Brandon Langang. Products that fit your style and budget. On the Strip, across from Riverwood RV, Mandan.
Before you turn in for the night, watch KX News at 9 on the Dakota's CW. Get us over the air, on satellite, or through your cable TV provider. KX News at 9. There's something for everyone at the KX Sports Show, March 12th through the 14th. Log on to kxnet.com for details. Local weather with the KX News Storm Team.
And happy Friday, and it's a really happy Friday for me. I get to spend it here at the KX Sports Show. KX News is here along with several vendors with boats and pontoons, from campers to cars, hot tubs, lawnmowers, everything that you can think of outdoors. It's here in the State Fair Center in Minot, and you can get here today at 1 o'clock. That's when the doors open, 1 to 7, and then 10 to 6 tomorrow, 11 to 4 on Sunday. Here's the forecast for Minot. In fact, the current temperature is 44 degrees. It's nice out there, sunshine. We've got these beautiful blue skies, and if you're heading to Minot or you're in Minot heading to the KX Sports Show, well, this year, the sports show, the weather is not a factor. In years past, we know that that has not always been the case, but a lot of sunshine today, highs in the 50s, and then clear skies tonight. Here's your KX Cam in Bismarck, a beautiful sky in the capital city at this hour. 44 degrees with a south wind at about 9 miles per hour. And you can see we are very clear out there. We're going to stay clear as we head into the afternoon and even into tomorrow. Right now around the area, we've got a few upper 30s, and Crosby is at 39 as well as Rugby, but hitting 50 already in Beach and Dickinson. Those are historically our warmer areas. Winds have picked up just a notch, mostly out of the southwest, around 5 to 15. And then later this afternoon, they'll probably stay around that range as well. Looking at a real North Dakota wind here, as I like to call it. That's a kind of typical wind for us on a typical day, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Highs today are warm 50s, mid to upper 50s. It's an incredible March 12th with full sunshine. You can see that here on the Precision Cast. And then once we head into Saturday, we keep that full sun. This is 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. Although lows tonight will be down to the teens and 20s. It'll be a little chilly tomorrow morning, but we warm back up to the 50s, even around 60. But you'll notice that low to the south of us approaching North Dakota, moving through Colorado and Wyoming, giving quite a bit of snow there. I don't think we're going to see too much in the way of rain and snow. We could see something maybe late Sunday night, early Monday morning, but it is going to usher in cloud cover through the day on Sunday. So here are your highs for Saturday. 50s and even around 60. 60 in Minot and Bismarck. It's going to be a really warm Saturday, and even on Sunday, we'll keep the 50s. Here's your forecast for Dickinson. Low 50s on Sunday. We also increase the wind a little bit. The atmosphere the feathers are ruffled, if you will, with that system moving in from the south. So that's why we're going to feel the breeze. Here's the Williston 3-day outlook. Again, looking at those 50s for daytime highs, pushing 60 for tomorrow and full sunshine. A quick look at your 7-day forecast for Minot, of course, shows the cool down, a slight cool down into next week, but notice it's very seasonable. The average high for Minot is as 35 for this time of year. We know we're anything but average when it comes to weather, but we're going to see upper 30s to low 40s for a good part of next week, and we do have a chance for some rain and snow Monday, and I can tell you the latest models I've been looking at in the last hour or so bring us a chance there on Tuesday as well. Bismarck, here's your forecast. Also looking at a pretty warm one for the weekend, a beautiful Saturday sunshine, a little breezy on Sunday, a chance for maybe some rain and snow quickly there Sunday night into Monday. So, of course, Maddie, I've already got my eyeball on a few things around here. This place is packed. It's incredible. I can't believe how tightly packed they can bring pontoons together within inches. I'm going to take pictures and send it back to you, Maddie. It's pretty remarkable.
Definitely do that. Well, enjoy the rest of the sports show, Amber, and thank you for the forecast. Now, 12 months into the pandemic, Americans have encountered some of the biggest challenges of their lives, coping with high levels of stress made worse by grief, isolation, and financial troubles. Nancy Chen shows us the toll COVID is taking on our mental health.
Sujeen Ceballos began journaling to cope with her increasing anxiety as the pandemic started. A new survey from the American Psychological Association shows Americans are experiencing unprecedented stress in the pandemic. 61% of adults have experienced undesired weight changes. 42% report gaining weight, an average of 29 pounds. 67% are sleeping more or less than they'd like to. 23% are drinking more alcohol.
The new survey also highlights the toll the pandemic has taken on parents with school-age children.
47% of mothers and 30% of fathers with children learning remotely say their mental health has gotten worse. Dr. Arthur Evans of the APA says communities of color are also being impacted during the pandemic. Dr. Evans warns that this country needs to act now for mental health. Ceballos hopes more people find their outlet. Especially during these trying times. Nancy Chen, CBS News.
The study also found that Americans are uncertain about the future, with 49% saying they're uneasy about adjusting to interacting again in person once the pandemic ends. Still to come on KX News, meet a remarkable woman who went the distance to find a better life for her family.
Selling Tracker and Nitro boats, Tracker Off-Road. Save now at Swenson RV and Marine. Huge indoor sales. Sears Court, Dakota Square Mall.
Being overweight may lead to high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, a weakened immune system, and can make COVID-19 even more risky. At Healthy Systems USA, get your free weight loss consultation from the comfort of your own home. Call or go to healthysystemsusa.com.
Funerals and how we celebrate our loved ones' lives are changing. So have we at DeWise Perry Funeral Services and Mandan Crematory. Our new funeral home is state-of-the-art with Mandan's first on-site crematory, with seating for over 200, and if you choose, we can host your loved one's memorial service, funeral service, and reception, all here at DeWise Perry, and all at a price you can afford. Simple services celebrating a life simply lived. DeWise Perry and Mandan Crematory, the affordable funeral.
Suffering from chronic pain does not have to be a lifelong sentence. At Upper Cervical Health Centers, Dr. Beth Lundby does an extensive and thorough diagnosis to determine the best plan for you. With cutting-edge technology and years of experience, Dr. Beth Lundby will be with you every step of the way to ensure the best possible outcome.
Dr. Beth is amazing. I struggled with neck pain and headaches for many years before finding great success with Dr. Lundby.
Upper Cervical Health Center. Call 701-751-4848 to schedule today.
Today, tomorrow, during business hours, or after hours, we are here when it matters. Short term, long term, or on mom's terms, we are here when it matters. Game time, play time, or when you need to save time. Kirkwood Bank and Trust. when it matters.
Update the floors in your home and save with 11% off everything. Now at Menards. We carry a great selection of flooring options to choose from, like soft and luxurious carpet and waterproof vinyl plank flooring. Chevron carpet is perfect for basements, playrooms, bedrooms, and more. Right now, pick it up for only 69 cents per square foot after 11% rebate. Get 11% off everything right now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards. Would you like to lose a pound of fat a day?
You know, everyone just treats me a little bit differently, a little bit better. You know, I feel more comfortable in social situations.
Before, when I walked by a mirror, I would duck. I wouldn't look. Now it's like, who's that girl?
Order online or call today for a free consultation.
KX News, putting North Dakota first.
I'm sure you've heard it before, but women will do anything for the love of their kids. But how about traveling just about 7,000 miles with 4 kids in tow? That's what Denise Zeneg did to get from West Africa to Bismarck and ensure her family a safe and prosperous future. Renee Cooper introduces us to this remarkable woman.
We made it. I'm so proud.
In 2014, Denise Zeneg closed the chapter on her life across the world in Cameroon. She, her husband, and 4 kids at the time boarded a plane.
Back there, you can go to school, you can have your bachelor, and when you're done, you'll be sitting home, no job, nothing to do.
Denise says leaving felt like the only option, but she'll never forget where she came from.
Whatever you have is for everyone.
This spread is custom, and over tea and croquettes, I learned of a remarkable journey.
It was April 2015. Every day I go out. Sometimes I go with the kid. We just walk a little bit, and then, I found a job.
That was her second job, working as a housekeeper.
I told them that I was going to be a nurse one of these days.
And that's exactly what Denise did for the love of this family. Step by step, sleepless night after sleepless night over the next 5 years.
From my housekeeper, I went to CNA. Even when I was a CNA, I was like, nope, this is not going to be. I'm just going to keep going.
From there, she became a CMA, or Certified Medical Assistant.
I was not sleeping at all.
And after several more obstacles, Denise made her own dream come true, passing the board exam and becoming a registered nurse.
I was jumping all over the house. I was like, oh my gosh, thanks God. I'm glad I made through this. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, God.
You never know that you are brave until you in face of situation that makes you realize that you are brave. And especially for us coming from Africa, where the women are the property of the husband, it's even more tough.
Rochelle Massimo is Denise's sister-in-law.
We are from the same village.
They've known each other for more than 20 years.
I came here escaping to have my life safe. Not knowing people, not knowing any English, it was tough. I have a master's degree in human resources, and I ended up being at the hotel working as a housekeeper.
Working multiple jobs while in school consumed Rochelle's life too. The pair continues to spend their lives fighting for more for their families.
When you have your goal, where you want to end up being, you have to have courage. You have to have determination, and you have to have faith on your own self.
I don't know how to call that in English, but in French, we say that an adage, which says that nothing is impossible for Cameroonian.
Reporting for KX News in the capital city, Renee Cooper.
And you can see Denise's mentality in her kids. Her twin boys are wrestlers at Bismarck High School, headed to college on scholarship in the fall. Still to come on KX News, how a museum is working to record history as it happens. And we'll revisit the KX Sports Show for a last look at weather. Stay tuned.
Share your heart, share your love. Make a shelter pet part of your world.
Cinderella found the pet that fits her perfectly. And you can too. Share your heart, share your love. Make a shelter pet part of your world. Happily Ever After begins at theshelterpetproject.org.
Before you turn in, Watch Tom and Becky on KX News at 9 on the Dakota CW.
In 1979, a group of North Dakota families made a commitment and formed HIT Incorporated to assist people with disabilities. Today, we have become one of the largest employers in the region, uniting more than 750 clients with our community each year. Our services have grown to provide living arrangements, infant and child development, daily support at home, on the job, and so much more. After over 35 years, we continue to keep our commitment to community.
Your business message in front of the right group of customers. Partner with an experienced team that knows how to make you stand out from the crowd. Take the next step. kxnet.com/result driven.
We all want to be listened to be heard. And because no one is more important than you, that's exactly what we do. Mid-Dakota Clinic doctors are known for listening and taking time to answer your questions and involving you in health decisions about the most important person in the world, you. Be listened to. Be heard. Mid-Dakota Clinic. The doctors you know and trust.
There's something for everyone at the 2021 KX Sports Show in Minot, March 12th through the 14th. Log on to kxnet.com for details.
Hi, I'm Jamie. Welcome to Complete Nutrition. The holidays in 2020 are over. It's time to lose those pounds. Instead of another unsafe fad diet, at Complete Nutrition, our products are safe, they're effective, and they come with proven results. We will build you a targeted weight loss kit that will trick your body into thinking it's running a marathon all while you go about your day. You will lose weight starting today. Come on in to Complete Nutrition where you can try it before you buy it. Success starts here at Complete Nutrition.
KX News, putting North Dakota first.
When the pandemic is behind us and a chapter in the history books, we'll have a place to visit some of the key moments that marked this past year. The Smithsonian's National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. has a growing collection of artifacts to tell the story of COVID-19. Things like the first vial of the Pfizer vaccine to be used in America, hospital scrubs, and hundreds of photos. The museum is still closed to the public, but eventually the vaccine artifacts will be part of a broader exhibit called In Sickness and in Health that will explore America's efforts to contain, control, and cure diseases. And now we're going to check in with Amber again for a last look at your weather. Hi, Amber.
Well, Maddie, I don't know if you've seen this before, but this is a party deck, and I found this because this is the end of my shift, and this is basically where me and my crew belong now. This is on the back of a camper, which is pretty impressive, by the way. So take a look at the forecast. We've got a lot of really warm temperatures for today. We're warming up significantly compared to the last 2 days. A lot of 50s, mid to upper 50s out there. If you are coming to the KX Sports Show this weekend, you've got great looking temperatures, 60 on Saturday, low 50s on Sunday, and then as we head through the next week, of course, we've got a cool down coming. It's not a big one, some 40s there heading into next week. Maddie?
Well, thank you for that, Amber. And be sure to join us tonight at 5 after 28 years and millions of tons of garbage. Bismarck's landfill is just about full. So what's the future of waste disposal in the city? Find out on KX News at 5. See you then.